Welcome to the School of Biblical Divination and Magic. I'm your teacher and Bible decoder, Minister Ashley, and this marks the new beginning of a new chapter in this ministry. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this ministry. And if you are interested in Ascended Bible studies and other forms of decoding, you can go to my mother channel, FD 1111 Ministries. Now to the topic at hand. Known as augury or Ornithomancy is a form of divination pertaining to birds. Ornithomancy consists of two words in Greek, ornis, bird, and mantia, divination. I decided to create this video at this moment in time, being inspired by the birds in my neighborhood and all around. And I was diving deep into biblical magic and divination, writing my second book. So what better way than to create content to help to educate and motivate? Orinthomancy is probably one of the oldest forms of divination. It spans from Asia to Africa, even here in the homelands. Orinthomancy is related to zoology and zoomancy. In Thailand, still to this day, the 𝐃𝐄𝐂𝐊𝐼 bird is sacred. It is observed for good or bad omens, primarily through flight and singing. The native people seek clarity in agriculture, hunting, and even signs before heading to war. This form of divination can be practiced spontaneously or formal. There's so much information about this practice. People that practice this form of divination typically take a course, read several in-depth books, or study under another skilled practitioner. This practice dates back to ancient Rome, Greece, Africa, and Turkey, just to name a few. In fact, in some cultures, they considered birds to be gods. In some cultures, the rooster is considered to be a god, related to the sun. And speaking of which, I have a video all about the rooster spirit animal on my mother channel. It will be linked down in the description box. Lectraomancy is a form of rooster divination. In Luke 22:34, Jesus makes a prediction using roosters. Jesus answered, "And I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me." Haruspicy is the examination of entrails, feathers, bones, and other matter of a sacrifice. This was popular in Babylonia, Rome, Greece, and even in the Bible. In my book, I discuss about the holiest day, known as the Day of Atonement, and all of the sacrifices that they performed. This practice, along with many other practices, were used to receive clarity and messages from God. In 1 Kings 17:2-6, Elijah is fed by ravens. The practice of Orinthomancy and other forms of divination were used to receive messages from God. In Genesis 8:7, Noah sent out a raven first as a sign of dry land. On the last try, when the raven did not return, one form of divination, he sent out a dove, and the dove brought back an olive branch, letting him know there was dry land. One of the most famous instances using doves was when John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and a confirmation of the Holy Spirit. The blessing of God upon Jesus was the sign of a dove. I could go on about examples of ornithomancy in the Bible, but I'm going to continue with examples on how you can utilize this practice in your life. I would first suggest learning about symbolism. The symbolism regarding each bird, color, shape, size, bone structure as much as possible. The singing and flight patterns, pecking order, pecking patterns. There are several books that specialize in this field, and I will have them listed down in the description box. Or you can just go out into nature, meditate, and ask for signs. Those signs and synchronicities will show up, giving you clarity for yourself. You can burn some incense, find a nice tree or a quiet park. Even feeding the birds not only gives them a treat, but also provides an opportunity for you to observe them up close. Waking up in the morning, going to sleep at night, especially around this time of the year, spring and summer, the vibrancy of their singing is alive in the air. This ancient practice gave way to the more modern practice of bird watching. A sign as simple as a bird flying left, meaning no, a bird flying right, meaning yes, or even pecking or walking in one of those directions. Collecting feathers could be good decorations for magical art, for your altar, for clothing, but also to connect with the birds. Some people sit and meditate with the feathers, examine the patterns, the colors, the stiffness, the softness, any messages that they can distinguish from the feather. Now, this may be crass to some people, but this is a form of divination. If you happen to see a bird that is already dead, no touching is necessary. Examining the entrails, the decomposition, examining the claws, the beak, the eye color, eye movement. Some people even collect the bones of the dead bird or even other animals. This would be under the category of necromancy. All of these were practices that the ancients will use to garner information. I want to take this opportunity to mention a bird found in the Old Testament, and this is surrounding a form of divination that was forbidden, pertaining to possibly the witch of Endor or the 𝐻𝐫 of Endor. The 𝐻𝐵 was a type of witch that used necromancy, and this form of necromancy consisted of child sacrifice. And I say this because it ties in not only to my book, but also to this practice that used a type of talking bird. So the bird was called a Yido'a or Yido'a or Yido'a, and the beak was used to talk or to receive prophecies. Now, the rabbis cannot come to a consensus on this form of practice, but however, either the bird was kept in a bottle or in some type of encasement and brought out when called upon for to speak a prophecy. Now, the bird could speak on its own, or either the seer, the 𝐻𝐵, had possession of the beak that they would place in the armpit, in the mouth, or in another location on the body that the beak would speak on its own to deliver a prophecy. Being that I am talking about birds, I felt like this was the proper place for to put this information. You can learn more about this practice in my book. Book officially drops on May 23rd, 2024, which happens to be a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. If you're catching this video after that, go ahead and cop it. If you already have the book, make sure that you do leave a 5-star review. I hope that this video was useful. Make sure you do check the description box as well for all of the books. Oracle decks, I actually found one that is totally dedicated to birds. I think that using tarot or oracle cards is a fun way how to learn about a topic. Speaking of oracle decks, you can purchase my I Am That I Am Divine Guidance cards, also listed down below. The Awakened magazine is always taking submissions of up-and-coming editions. You can find that website also, guess where, in the description box. Until next time, Divine Ones, this is Minister Ashley for the School of Biblical Divination and Magic. I'll talk to you later.